What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Bitcoin still hanging around in the high $12,000 levels. We've had quite an exciting week for Bitcoin. You can see we did get all the way up to over $13,000 at one point. Now, a lot of people are speculating that this move was due to the PayPal news. And while I do think that that did have a very significant effect, which we are going to go into later in the video, there also just simply was a lot of technicals and fundamentals that were really setting Bitcoin up for this insane move. And you can actually see that we have been essentially on this upwards trajectory, and we are moving higher and higher on these channels. And I'm going to show you why a $14,000 Bitcoin is not too far out of the reach. In fact, a $50,000 Bitcoin, yes, you heard me right, is actually easier to obtain than most people think. And this has to do with something that's happening right now, which is the fact that we actually do have some validation from what PayPal has done. You have seen the CME futures absolutely skyrocket in open interest. Grayscale Investments added $300 million under their management in just one day. So I would definitely say that the PayPal effect is real. And I want to discuss the fact that we could be about to witness an institutional frenzy. And let me tell you something, there is not enough Bitcoin right now to meet that demand if even just a small percentage of them try to get their hands on Bitcoin. So imagine if you think 2017 was crazy, we might just be in for the biggest rally yet, okay? So obviously I'm not saying there might not be pullbacks along the way, but we're going to talk about the fact that things could get very crazy very fast. And if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed, definitely consider it. Also, super quick, almost forgot to mention that Bybit now has USDT trading pairs for more altcoins. You can now trade Ethereum on USDT, as well as now an addition of Chainlink, Litecoin, and Tezos. So this means on top of also being able to trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and EOS, you can now also trade Chainlink, Litecoin, and Tezos. And actually, if you had started longing as soon as they listed it, you'd be doing quite well. Chainlink has been doing quite well. So obviously, you can make money when Bitcoin and altcoins go up, and you can also make money when they go down by shorting. Now, obviously, I do not recommend this for beginners, but if you are interested, I do have links below. And also, they are going to be having 30% off on fees. This is for 30 days starting October 26th. So if you are interested, I do have tutorials as well popping up above. You can also just search them and also check out the links below. Oh, and also one thing I want to talk about too is PayPal, do they potentially have a little secret motive in the back? They might be looking to acquire some other Bitcoin services. So we're going to get into that as well. But as you can see right here, it's really difficult to keep talking about analysis when basically we have just blasted through all of the major resistances and we're still just hanging around above these levels. I mean, we haven't even come back down to retest this support off of CME. So, I mean, you might see us try to retest around the $12,500 level. I am anticipating some kind of a pullback at some point, but the way things are going, we might just keep putting in higher highs and sideways and higher. And the next level, like I said, is this yellow line right here, right before the green blast off level. And that level is around $14,200. So we could see Bitcoin continue upwards without any major pullbacks to about the $14,000 level. It is very possible. Now, obviously, we are entering the weekends. Weekends do tend to get a little bit weird, right? We can get a lot of sort of movement that doesn't really end up mattering come Monday when we do have the traditional futures and markets opening again. But an interesting thing is that you could see that essentially once we started pumping back here in the beginning of April, we have been stuck in this channel and we continue to put in higher highs and higher lows, which is textbook bullish. And an interesting thing is you could see that once we come up here, we actually come back down and we sort of put in a triangle wedge and then we break out again. And we did the same exact thing here where we kept having, the lower resistance. We put in another triangle and we look like we're starting to actually move towards the top of the channel again. So, we might get stomped out almost right at that $14,000 level. Bitcoin might continue to trade sideways again as we come back down. And we could even come down sooner, down to these levels, which would actually bring us down to, 11,000s again, which I know, but seriously, think about it. We have had some pretty explosive moves bouncing around again, and you could look for the end of the year as in like, the Christmas rally, for Bitcoin to finally start moving to new all-time highs, maybe by the beginning of next year. And you can see right here also, if we zoom in on the daily, this is actually over on Coinbase. We have actually tapped out at some resistance right here. There is some room, if you do take it from the top of the wicks, to have that pump. And once again, that puts us back to about the $14,200 level, with the pullback target of around the, could be even 11,000 even, right? It is possible. And actually, if we were to do that, how much would that be for a pullback from the level we're at right now? Okay, that would be around a 17% pullback. So those 15-20% pullbacks, that is what we do consider normal in Bitcoin, and that is a possibility. However, Crypto Hamster, he says that he doesn't believe the recent pump in Bitcoin was due to the PayPal news. He says it looks more like the China pump that we had back in October of 2019. Instead, he thinks it could be front-run by, or it could be actually led, I should say, by Tether printing. And he points out every time we have a Tether pump right here, we do have these massive moves, and we did see an extreme amount of Tether printed right around the end of September into the beginning of October. So that could also give us clues. Now, something interesting that Glassnode pointed out was 98% of all Bitcoin UTXOs are currently in a state of profit. This is actually making a lot of people say, well, if everyone is in profit, there could be a massive dump, right? Everyone could just be cashing out. They're finally breaking even. I saw some people over on Reddit saying they finally broke even from the 2017, purchases when people were buying $16,000, $17,000, $18,000 Bitcoin, right? But here's an interesting perspective. So this blue zone here represents all the times that you could have bought Bitcoin, and had you simply held, you would be in profit. Now, going up here, this very, very small red zone shows you the peak in 2017, this little tiny blast off we had here in the month of June of 2019. And if you maybe bought Bitcoin in the past day, over 13,000. But other than that, everyone is literally in profit. So if we haven't seen a massive dump yet, do you really think that it's going to happen when we get back to the 20K levels? Do you honestly think that we're going to hit 20K and then everyone's just going to dump their Bitcoin? I don't think so. Human mentality, right? Greed. We want more. When we hit all-time highs, we're just going to say, okay, now we're going to double it, right? Some people might take profits. We might have some volatility. But like Cantor and Clark says, Bitcoin to 15K would not require much effort at all. Even if going by the $21 million or million coin total amount of Bitcoin, that is a very low float. Who will sell as soon as the price shows the first sign of acceptance above all-time high? Most won't until the next blow off top, okay? And that level could be anywhere between 100,000 to 288,000 for the Bitcoin price. And I'm certainly not selling my Bitcoin at $20,000. I did not sit here and hold all my Bitcoin from the highs to the lows just to sell back at 20,000 again. No way, not this guy. But let's talk about what happened yesterday. CME recorded an open interest of 790 million as compared to 718 Binance and 601 million BitMEX. So what does this mean? Well, this trend is suggesting that more traders are flocking to CME rather than its unregulated counterparts, which means more traditional investors, traditional traders have been flooding the market as of late. So this rapid increase in open interest does show that there is a growing institutional demand for three key reasons, and we could be looking for a massive institutional frenzy, which could literally skyrocket the price to unprecedented levels, like levels that we don't even have them charted yet because we've never been that high, right? So number one, you have the overall volume of the market rising substantially. CME open interest is up. Number two, major institutional focused markets, including Grayscale, have added 300 million in just one day. And finally, the options market have also received a record high daily volume, which is also preferred by full-time traders as well as high net worth individuals. And you can see Barry Silbert said, yes, a cool 300 million added in one day. And this now brings the total assets under management for Grayscale to $7.3 billion, which is insane, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was higher today, okay? This is just the numbers from 18 hours ago, and you can see how fast these levels are climbing. And these guys alone are responsible, I think it's like half of the Bitcoin coming out, or like 44% or some crazy number like that. And this just represents one small institution, one small investment firm, right? But let's talk about what is going on right now in the media. Once again, the media is putting Bitcoin back into the spotlight again. So now your friends, your family, they're all seeing Bitcoin. They're seeing it on PayPal. They're seeing it in the news. And now you have guys like Michael Novogratz who not only have come out and spoke highly about Bitcoin, but also about decentralized finance. Yeah, you remember our good old buddy DeFi? Remember that guy? And of course, the Ethereum platform. And I want to play this clip for you super quick.
So let me ask you though about that correlation, because with risk on, people are taking more bets on things like Bitcoin. But how much of that is a bet on Bitcoin or the issues around just printing cash versus the operational potential as a transactional currency? Given the news we just heard from PayPal, that PayPal is going to allow cryptocurrencies as part of the wallet. How does that change this?
I think that's, in some ways, the shot heard around the world on Wall Street, right? PayPal has 346 million accounts, right? They're the 30th biggest bank in the U.S. in deposits. And all of a sudden, every financial institution says, wait a minute, what am I doing? And so if you're at the boardroom of Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs or Bank of America, you're thinking, how do I get engaged? I was looking before I came on at just stock prices, right? Ethereum, the platform that this new financial ecosystem is going to be built on, is up 200% this year. Square at 186%, PayPal 99%. And then you go to Wells Fargo down 60, Citibank down 46. And so if you're a CEO of a big bank, you're saying, well, hold on, what's going on here? And so we are going to see over the next 10 years a rebuilding of the financial infrastructure of this country. It was interesting that PayPal hired Paxos to do their integration with crypto, because there's a domain expertise in this cryptocurrency space, in this blockchain space, that's needed. When I lived in Alabama, I was a helicopter pilot. There was a town called Enterprise, and they had a statue that held up a boll weevil. And I was like, the craziest statue I've ever seen. Well, the boll weevil ate all the cotton, and then they planted peanuts, and that brought prosperity to the region. In some way, the cryptocurrency community is going to hold up a virus, the COVID virus, because it was the COVID virus that really accelerated, as horrible as that to sound, accelerated adoption of crypto on two ways: the macro story with Bitcoin, and the more maybe important story of digitalization of all cash, digitalization of the financial services system. That's going to mostly be built on Ethereum.
So that is definitely pretty incredible that you're hearing now Ethereum getting out into the mainstream, right? That is becoming the acceptable platform for the potential future of finance, decentralized finance, right? But super quick, talking about PayPal before we move on, PayPal Holdings is exploring acquisitions of cryptocurrency companies, including Bitcoin custodian BitGo Incorporated, according to people familiar with the matter. PayPal has also been in talks with BitGo, a company that helps investors store Bitcoin securely, and could reach a deal within weeks, the people said, asking not to be identified because the matter is private, but talks could still fall apart and PayPal could opt to buy other targets instead. So is PayPal now really about to lead the bull run? Are they going like head first, diving into this crypto stuff? Pretty incredible moving forward. So let's talk about some crypto news and then let's get on out of here. So first thing I want to mention is the fact that we have Ontology actually joining the Polkadot ecosystem. I know, crazy, right? So they say eager to accelerate its decentralized identity solution. Ontology has partnered with Polkadot and now Parity Technologies, another Polkadot partner, and they will be working on basically to provide their DID solution to integrate into Polkadot's network, which will allow DID to reach users of multiple blockchain platforms. So it says that the parachain will enable the company to offer its users some credit-based services based on decentralized identity and interconnected blockchains. Along with that, Ontology intends to offer them the OS Score credit system it has released lately to allow users to borrow or lend depending on their history of crypto transactions and asset management. This parachain is also expected to add cross-chain liquidity to Polkadot. And listen, I am super excited for Ethereum 2.0. Trust me, I'm excited. but I'm also pretty damn pumped for Polkadot as well, and it's nice to see Polkadot and Ontology joining hands. Now, let's talk about something really interesting that you're seeing now in the blockchain space. So we have seen a lot of interest in crypto. PayPal is getting interested. Atari, right, the video game company, they're looking to release an Atari token. Now, the guys behind CAPTCHA, which you guys know what they are, the CAPTCHAs, they're basically the little puzzles that you solve to prove that you're human. Google has reCAPTCHA. Well, HCAPTCHA is also very popular. In fact, you probably use HCAPTCHA more than you even realize you do. Well, now these guys are getting involved in the crypto space as well. You can actually see this came from Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare, they are very huge. A lot of websites use their services, and they actually migrated from Google over to HCAPTCHA for a few reasons. One, because they said there were privacy issues with Google trying to collect people's data. Not surprised. Also, they were looking to charge them as well. But coming down here, they say the reason that HCAPTCHA is better is because they don't sell personal data. They collect only minimum necessary personal data. They are transparent in describing the info they collect and how they use and or disclose it, and they agree to only use such data to provide the HCAPTCHA services to Cloudflare. You're probably wondering where I'm going with this. Well, we'll get to that in just a minute. But performance, both in speed and solve rates, was as good or better than expected. They have a robust solution for visually impaired and other users with accessibility challenges. It supports privacy paths to reduce the frequency of CAPTCHAs. It worked in regions where Google was blocked. Okay, certain places have firewalls, countries that actually block services by Google. And finally, the HCAPTCHA team was nimble and responsive in the way that they found refreshing. So this brings us to the human protocol. So what is human protocol? Well, these guys are looking to create a blockchain-based two-sided marketplace. On one side, it'll enable requests to label large volumes of data. On the other, it will allow for workers who complete the work to be evaluated and to be remunerated. Now, they say there's many things that machines can do, but they do not learn by themselves. An AI cannot accurately distinguish a traffic light from a tree or decipher messy handwritten notes without being taught by data labeled by humans. So this is also some of the data that they were using for Google as well to actually help the AI to identify, certain things. So they say when a human completes a task via the protocol, this creates a label to annotate the data. When we begin to label data, we are creating associations. If these associations that ultimately, these are the associations that will power the machine learning. So what can you do with the human protocol? Well, it allows job types to be defined and published. These job types can be either simple, in which cases they may be executed directly, or complex, in which you can actually have a bunch of simpler tasks sort of allocated to a bunch of different resources, and then you can reassemble them all together into the final result. And these are some of the things that you might be very familiar with seeing them. So, for example, please click all the dogs, right? And the interesting thing is, what they're doing is, how the HCAPTCHA, I should say, is using the human protocol is to assist in managing the evaluation and compensation of the end users who carry out this work in order to compensate the websites they visit. So if all of this data ends up being stored on the blockchain, you can actually create this sort of AI, machine learning. We've talked about that before, that not only will it help, but it'll also protect your privacy. And the interesting thing down here is they're actually going to be utilizing oracles, right? So we know what Chainlink is. Chainlink is an oracle, but the problem with blockchains is that blockchains, they're only really able to talk within themselves. They can't gather information. They can't take data from the outside world. So they're actually going to have two oracles. They're going to have a recording oracle that collects and answers and provides a rolling evaluation of answer quality. They pass on the data to the reputation oracle, and then also the reputation oracle, which receives the answers and evaluates the final quality of the answer. So basically, this is really incredible to see this also coming to blockchain. You're seeing lots of people get involved in this space. You're seeing NFTs absolutely skyrocketing. You're seeing data like things like Ocean Protocol absolutely booming. Now you're seeing Human Protocol literally bringing things like HCAPTCHA, which is already a service which a lot of people are using right now and you don't even realize it, to the blockchain as well. So yeah, I mean, video games, Atari tokens, NFTs, CAPTCHAs, data, everything is coming to this space, and people are really seeing the value that it brings. And actually, they are going to be listing their token over on Bitfinex. So if you guys are interested in that, you can definitely check that out. But yeah, so this is just incredible to see all these different things. And also one other thing I wanted to mention too as well, we had spoken about Oasis Foundation. I just want to let you guys know that the Oasis Rose Garden is live, so you can earn Rose, contribute to the Oasis network, etc. And if you guys want to sort of see how that works right here, basically it's a mechanism to reward the native token to the community. So they have the Rose farm. Thank God it's a rose and not a vegetable like a cucumber or a pickle or a whatever carrot. But anyway, so participants can receive Rose in exchange for temporarily adding USDC or USDT to the Rose farm pool. Now, what's cool about this is there's not actually a lot of risk. Like, if you're doing it with the token, which you can Rose cultivate, in which participants receive more Rose in exchange for staking the farmed Rose that you get, right? But at the same time, there's really no risks involved, or minimal risk involved, because you're really just lending a stable coin. Stablecoin is a stable coin, but you're getting rewarded, right? So this is really interesting. Check that out. And one quick thing before we go, just wanted to mention this, getting back to the reason why we're really all here, because of Bitcoin and blockchain and the life-changing, tech that it has on the effects of the world, but also just talking from a monetary perspective, from a financial perspective. We have seen Bitcoin reaching all-time highs in the Brazilian real. Now, we're not at an all-time high in the US, but we are seeing that Bitcoin is acting as a much better hedge against all of these other types of, the guys just started mowing the lawn right now. Got a little bit distracted. I'm going to try to end the video because it might get loud. But basically, they say Bitcoin is not quite at the all-time high of 20,000 anywhere, but it is in BRL, in Iranian money, and it has just started a bull run in Iran. Argentina's chart might be the most interesting one as well. Inflation there is 36%, the same level as interest rates. Their GDP, therefore, has fallen from 650 billion to 430 billion, a huge drop in just 2 years, with their Bitcoin chart, with the Bitcoin chart making it quite vivid. So in combination, to summarize and end this video, because I don't want to keep you guys here all day, in combination, we have Brazil, Iran, and Argentina amount to a GDP of 2.7 trillion, as much as France or like the UK. So it's not a small country money that's getting out of hand, but big money, with Bitcoin being a store of value for them, even while the price of their local currency is falling. And with that being said, that is enough for Friday. What is Bitcoin doing right now? Let's check it out. Bitcoin, please go to moon, just hanging out. Okay, so that is that, guys. But having a look right here, that is it for today. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. What up, lawn guys? Thanks for mowing in the middle of my video. And that is it for me. My name is K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.